Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're kicking off our 2021 draft ranks. This is kind of a preview, honestly, early ranks because it's only June. We got a lot of time here. So we're going to kick off with quarterbacks today. We have our top 15 quarterbacks. I mean, we're only just 2 months and a little bit away from drafts actually opening up. Probably 2 months. We'll probably have relegation league drafts in less than 2 months, the way our scheduling works for it, which is just crazy to me, which hopefully will be a more normal season this year. Hopefully a lot less COVID stuff we got to deal with every week, and our team's going to play, or our player's going to play. That was a bit annoying last year, right? But that's why I didn't make the playoffs in our league. That is the only reason. The only time I'll ever not make the playoffs is the pandemic season. So there we go. Good. So, all right, top 15 quarterbacks. We're just going to jump right into it. Number 1 was Pat Mahomes. I had him 1. You had him 1. No surprise. I don't care what your argument is. If you say he's not number 1, you're an idiot. Sorry. I'm not going to go with it.
On top of being incredibly talented with some of the best weapons in the league, he also happens to be the safest person to pick as a quarterback. All these other guys, even though they're very, very good, no one's quite as safe as Patrick Mahomes. We know what he can do.
It's simple. There's no debate. The only debate would be where to draft him. We'll get into that in a couple weeks when we start doing that kind of more draft strategy talk. I just say the general consensus here on drafting quarterbacks is we're not reaching for anybody. No. We're not drafting quarterbacks early. I think we've learned enough. But keep it at that. Number 2 for us is Josh Allen is our number 2. He was my number 2, your number 3. I don't think you can go wrong with him here. I'm not going to be in a spot probably to get these couple of these top guys. Josh Allen, though, with his running ability, he's an easy top 3 option at the worst case, right? Like you're saying.
He's incredible. The only reason I downgraded him, I'm guessing, under the person we're going to say next, but he had an unbelievably good year last year. He had a breakout year. The last 3 years, he's done nothing but just take off like a rocket. Yep. He threw for 37 touchdowns last year, which is pretty mind-blowing to me. I could see that number going down to no fault of his own. But hey, I still have him as my number 3 quarterback. That's how good he is. Yep. But yeah, he does a little bit of everything, but he just had a lot of great numbers, and you just wonder, will they get Diggs under control a little more? Will they run the ball a little more? You never know. So anyway, you're splitting hairs when you're talking about the top 3, top 5. Are.
Number 3 for us is Kyler Murray. He was number 2 for you. He's actually number 5 for me.
Oh, really?
Even though I was a Kyler Murray guy last year, I had him on my team. I still like Kyler Murray. There's nothing against him. I don't know. There were some things I didn't necessarily love towards the end of last season. I felt like he was great for me for a while, and then there was times I didn't love it. There's just some other guys that I might feel more comfortable with. That's it. It's nothing against him. I hope he falls and I can get him again. I don't think that's going to happen this year. He is consensus number 3 as well. So our top 3, Mahomes, Allen, Murray, are the rank in the consensus ranks as well.
And Kyler, the thing I like about Kyler and why I put him number 2, especially over someone like Josh Allen, who definitely deserves to be anywhere up there. But there's a lot of room to grow still. He was able to put together really crazy numbers, and he only threw 26 touchdowns. He didn't quite reach 4,000 yards passing. But hey, he threw for 67% completion, and kind of like you said, he did kind of fall off by the end of the year. So the worry there would be more of, did they figure him out? Does he get worn down?
I think he was beat up a little bit, so I think that was a lot of it. So we'll see how that he adds AJ Green. I don't know if that means anything at this stage.
I think it'll help a little bit. You still have Hopkins. You still have a lot of really good players. So I'm not too worried about that. His rushing, if he's able to do that again, 133 rushes, which is a lot for a quarterback, but he was able to turn that into 819 yards and 11 touchdowns. Right. That is where if I put him at number 2 and he doesn't come close to that rushing wise, which I think he will, because the first year he had over 500 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns as well. So he's been they kind of figured it out how to do more of a hybrid situation.
Yep.
Then he'll definitely be worth that price of admission. If that goes down, that's where we could get into a little bit of trouble. But he's so deadly that I think he's pretty safe you can take him as a top 5 guy no matter what.
Number 4, Lamar Jackson. number 4 for both of us. So we've talked about Lamar episodes ago. I don't remember when that was. I know having a conversation about him where the rushing numbers were just as good last year. Not to be just good. They were very good last year. They were a couple hundred yards less, but still over 1,000, same amount of touchdowns. It was the passing touchdowns, 10 less passing touchdowns. That's the concern. That's the worry there, right? And it's like, okay, which of those 2 seasons is the real thing? That's what we don't know yet. We don't have enough of a sample size yet to know which is the real passing story there with Lamar Jackson. Is it the 36 touchdowns? Is it the 26 touchdowns? And that changes everything.
You go from being a number 1 QB overall to the number 10th, right? You're kind of like, I'm breaking the NFL. I'm making sure that my teams get to go to the playoffs, ching ching, win championships, or I'm just a good quarterback that for him, a lot of people overpaid for last year. But it is a very big worry. Once again, I think that he's going to be a top 10 guy. I personally think, like you do, that he's going to be a top 5 guy.
I do.
I think that he's going to return. He's going to be a little bit better in that passing game. Not saying he's going to return to that first time when he broke out, but it's the same thing that I'm worried about with Josh Allen. When you throw that many touchdowns, and we haven't seen you do it before, you're not Brady and Aaron Rodgers or whatever it may be. The touchdowns aren't guaranteed, even if you have similar yardage. Yep. And going down by 10 touchdowns, that same thing could happen to Josh Allen. So that's where I'm kind of watching, trying to connect the dots here. Who knows? But I think he'll get it back up. My guess would be he throws about 31. I think he has an improved wide receiving core. He still has Mark Andrews, who's very good. They're going in the right direction with trying to get him a few more weapons, and I think you can throw a little more to Dobbins, which we both love. So
the thing is, he doesn't pass the ball very much. That is the worry, because his actual percentage of touchdowns per attempt is actually pretty decent. It's not, it was better last year. Okay, I was looking to throw this up. Kyler Murray was 4.7% of his passes were touchdowns. Last year, Lamar Jackson, 6.9% of his passes were touchdowns. He just doesn't throw the ball. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't throw the ball. So hopefully that changes. They added Sammy Watkins. They have Marquise Brown. Sammy Watkins will play 4 games probably, right? Right. But they got Rashad Bateman. They drafted Rashad Bateman. Yes. That can be good. They still have Mark Andrews. They got some weapons. There has to be more than 26 touchdowns there.
Yeah, and I think this is the time too. He's very productive as a runner. You want to do that, but if you want to win, you're going to have to keep letting him improve through the pass game. And one of that ways is you have to let him throw a little more. Yeah. Last year, he didn't even have 400 attempts.
Yep.
No, so it just shows
very low.
So I think that number goes up. I would hope that he's closer to 450 this year. And I think it all evens itself out because I don't think his running numbers go down all that much at all.
Our number 5, Russell Wilson. He's 5th for you, 6th for me. There's been some weird talk this offseason with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks and everything. It's fine. It's all going to be fine. They got DK Metcalf. They got Tyler Lockett, right? They're going to be good.
Yeah, and he's, I talk about Mahomes as being an incredibly safe quarterback. Russell Wilson is another one. He's going to be, I'd love to get him later because look at, what he's been able to do. I forget how long he's been in the league.
It's like 2012-ish.
He has only been outside the top 10 once in his, since 2012. Yeah. And that was in 2016. He ranked number 11th. That was his lowest he's ever fallen. He's been third 3 times. He's been number 1 in 2017. Other than that, you're floating in the bottom, second half. It goes up and down, but now you have DK and Lockett. If he gets any other help, which you're kind of hoping that one, a rookie or someone will step up.
Yeah, he slowed down from his great start last year. That's probably the lasting impression there. But DK Metcalf is so good. It's
I don't have any worry that he's going to fall out of the top 10.
No, he should. So, he feels safe. So Russell Wilson, number 5 for us. Number 6, Aaron Rodgers, still there. He's 6 for you, 7 for me. I'm not buying this yet. Honestly, with a player like Aaron Rodgers, if he got traded, it's Aaron Rodgers. I'm still good with Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you. I was going to say, what destination could he go to where I'm not going to say he still deserves to be in the top 10?
I mean, at this point, where would he possibly go? Honestly, I can only see one destination at this point, and it'd be like Denver.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I don't see where else it would be.
No, it's the destination we heard about earlier, and if he went there, I would absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you don't have
Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton.
Yes.
I love it.
You don't have Devontae Adams, but you have a lot of good pass-catching players. You can just throw it around. It doesn't even matter who it is. And like you said, and we didn't even mention like Noah Fant. Like he really can throw it to a lot of people. You have a run game. You have a decent defense. I think that would be a match made in heaven. And or he stays with Devontae Adams and he throws 20 touchdowns to that guy.
The rumors recently, I just heard about Drew Lock looking terrible, and like he's done.
Yeah,
they got Teddy Bridgewater. He's not going to do it.
They desperately need a quarterback.
They want him. They would do it, but. I mean, if Rodgers truly is not going to go play for the Packers, they're going to have to trade him.
And at least you would get a number one. You would definitely get a first-round draft pick for him.
I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think his situation, if it was Denver, would be perfectly fine. I just don't see another scenario. I don't know where that other scenario is right now. I don't see it. So
the only one I could see, honestly, is I could see San Francisco.
Well, that's thing. San Francisco would have been it, but would they do that with Trey Lance?
Even with Trey Lance,
you think they would?
I think they would say, you know what, because it'd be a guaranteed thing though. They'd be like, okay, Aaron Rodgers, do you want to play 3 more years, or is it going to be more? If it's 3, here's 3 years, and we'll say Trey Lance is going to sit.
Without Trey Lance, that would be 100% where I think it would go. But
let's be honest, they will be in the running with the roster they have right now, whether it be Garoppolo or Trey Lance behind center. You throw Aaron Rodgers on that team, and all of a sudden you're talking about only maybe 2 other teams along with them.
I guess, and I think John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, if they have a chance to get Aaron Rodgers, they're not going to be like, oh, sorry, we have Trey Lance.
Yeah. Oh, that's not fair to him.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll go, yeah, you're right.
He was really good in college for a year.
That would be the other option. It is San Francisco and Denver. Those are the only two spots I could possibly see him playing for.
And, was it the old quote, you play to win the game?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's what you would have to think is, are we trying to win or not?
Exactly.
We are.
Yeah, you got to go win. All right, number 7, Dak Prescott. You're number 10. My number 3.
Oh, wow. Okay. I will fully admit that I probably went a little aggressive on putting him lower right now. I'm still waiting for – I did see him run a little bit. Yeah. He's looking pretty good, but I'm still holding off because there's a lot of good quarterback play that is sitting here. So I'm still putting him at 10. He could easily move his way up to, say, 8. Yeah. Because that's where kind of I was like determining, should he be over here? Should he do this? Why do you think he's number 3, even with the injury? That does scare me.
I like the weapons, and I feel like this is what Mike McCarthy wants to do. I feel like Mike McCarthy wants to throw the ball around. I just do. And I mean, is Zeke still Zeke? We don't know. But the way I saw it happening towards the beginning of the year, he was really throwing the ball well. He was looking good. I feel like that can continue, and I think they're just going to – I don't know. They try to improve their defense, but is it going to be improved yet?
I thought maybe they do more.
They drafted some,
maybe they stopped the bleeding a little bit, but they're not good still.
No. So they're going to have to throw the ball. I think that's what Mike McCarthy wants to do because he's a moron.
You have him. So. Here's my thing. Yeah. Here's my thing. Number 3, it feels aggressively high. It's a little, so you would still, even with the injury and everything, you would still put him over Lamar. You still put him over Russell. You still put him over Aaron Rodgers. Those are the ones that I take exception to.
Yeah, I do. I will because here's so who would I say? He's out of Lamar because Lamar's passing touchdowns went way down, and I just don't know. He threw for under 400 times. He's ahead of Russell because Russell really slowed down at the end of last year. And he's ahead of Rodgers because we don't know where Rodgers is playing. There, I just came up with 3 points right there. Yeah. Boom. I got my reasons.
I disagree, but I can understand why anyone would be in love with the guy. It scares me to death to put him in the top 5 when he has an injury like that. I still want to see him play a little more before I can say, because I'm worried about a setback still. I'm still worried that his running isn't there. I mean, I think he's a good passer. He should. If he stays healthy, he should be in the top 10. He's got weapons. He does have a very good arm. But, he was very sneaky with his legs. He's not like a pure runner, but he'd find his way in the end zone, anywhere 4 or 5 times a year, stretch the field. So anyway, I get where you're coming from, but we'll disagree on that one right now.
Number 8 for us is Justin Herbert. He's number 8 for both of us. Just a great rookie season. I mean, I just can't see him not being good with how good he was. It's a new offense, though. That's the only possible hiccup with that. He still has Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. He does not have Hunter Henry anymore, but I don't know
if that matters.
He has Jared Cook these days.
Yeah,
I think Jared Cook's still around.
Either way is fine. And the thing I love too is if Eckler is healthy, that is just easy yardage to pass for that guy, which he did not have last year. And he still has Keenan Allen and a lot of very, very veteran, very good wide receiving options.
Yep. So Herbert should be a good, solid pick. Number 9 for us is Tom Brady. At 43 years old, he's still a top 10 fantasy quarterback. He's number 7 for you. He's 11 for me. He has all the weapons. He has so many guys to throw the ball to: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown,
Gronkowski, OJ
Howard will be back. I mean, there's more. They drafted. Oh shoot, I can't remember who all they.
I actually do like the person they drafted. I mean, he went to a terrible place to go.
I'm just blanking on a name right here.
Yeah.
I gotta find his name. Scotty Miller.
Yeah. Do they still have Scotty Miller? And that's how much I don't know because there's so many people.
They still got Scotty. Jalen Darden.
And then they also had was it Johnson?
Tyler Johnson, yeah.
Tyler Johnson, which looked like a very up-and-coming wide receiver if he wasn't just buried behind all-stars.
They still got Cameron Brate. Did we say that, too?
No, we didn't say Brate.
They got Cameron Brate, too.
Dude, they have way too many weapons. It's freaking ridiculous.
I can see a scenario where they just run the ball with Fournette and Jones, too. Like, that's my one worry,
I cannot. And I can't see it.
Is Tom Brady just going to finally slow down? He's so old.
First of all, who knows?
This is one of the players we can actually say is older than us, and by a lot, actually.
Yeah, by a lot. I put him at number 7, and the weapons is definitely a number 1. But also, how many times have you watched him win Super Bowls, come back, and still put in the work and do all of that? And the best part about it is he was actually a lot of these guys we talked about, Russell Wilson and actually Lamar went the other way, but. Kyler Murray, they were starting to slow down at the end. Tom Brady was just getting it rolling. And obviously, they got into the playoffs and won the Super Bowl, but they were really getting it rolling near the end of the year. I mean, you could see Gronk coming on. You could see a lot of these guys. Godwin was hurt part of the year. So was Mike Evans. They had a lot of things that could have went better during the regular season. If Tom Brady, and I can only assume he will, comes back with that, killer mindset that he's had year in and year out, I think that he's going to be a very productive quarterback. And I don't think that people are going to, I think people will look at the age, which is rightfully so, but I think he's going to be a very valuable quarterback you can get at a relatively cheap price compared to, we'll talk about Herbert and all these really fun names that are up and coming. Yeah, how many times have you heard Tom Brady? But it's crazy that you can list all of those weapons and then we can be like, he's in the bottom of the top 10.
Right. It is kind of nuts. Number 10, Ryan Tannehill jumps into our top 10. Number 9 for you, 10 for me. I mean, we talked about on the last episode, he has Julio Jones now. He has 2 great weapons to throw the ball to. So he has to be. You liked him anyway.
Yeah.
You liked Ryan Tannehill anyway. He's a good later guy to get. This is going to probably jump his value, though, a little bit now. His price is going to go up.
A little bit.
But it's still probably a very solid pick. And
he's just a guy that no one really wants as their number 1 QB. But if you put him in there, he's incredibly solid.
He's solid, and he throws the ball to Julio Jones and AJ Brown.
And they have a wonderful run game that he can play action off of.
Yep.
And when you have AJ Brown and Julio to throw down the field to, you're going to throw some touchdowns. He still threw 33 touchdowns, even though they weren't a pass-first team. So he's a very valuable quarterback to have, especially in the later rounds.
Number 11 for us is Jalen Hurts. He's 11 for you, 9 for me. This is my guy, so crap, we're going to have to fight over him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's an interesting one. Right now, I did put him at number 11 because, you have Tannehill, I have Dak. I didn't see a whole lot of guys you could put below him. He is going to be the guy, and if I'm looking at the list, he's the one that could kind of be a bust. He could also be a league winner. For me,
that's the one. I'm not trying to compare him to Lamar, but it's a similar. He's not as good as Lamar, but it feels similar. And where I can draft him is where I could draft Lamar going into year 2. He's not as good as Lamar. Don't get me wrong. He's just not. But fantasy wise, he brings a lot of that same stuff that's going to help us. And I like getting Jalen Hurts. He's going to be one of my favorite picks.
Yeah,
if I can get him as my quarterback, and that's why I like to wait.
And especially after this, we'll get to a bunch of guys that are a little more safe, but they don't have a lot. They don't really have that ceiling you're hoping to get, right? So Jalen Hurts is one of the guys that has an incredibly high ceiling we don't know where he's going to go.
Yep.
But anyway, number 12.
Yep. So number 12 is Matt Stafford. Well, it's kind of a tie actually between Stafford and the next guy, but Stafford is number 12. He was 12 for you, 13 for me. He's now with the Rams. He has some good players to throw the ball to. Was Detroit holding them back? I don't know. Maybe he's just not that good. Maybe Matt Stafford sucks. And I'm sorry.
Dude, he's going to be a guy that...
It's going to be this thing where, I don't know, like, if they do really well and he wins, I'm going to probably just be sad.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm rooting for him.
I know. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to root for him. I'm not ready. Like
the breakup is a little too.
It took me like when Verlander won his World Series, say with the Astros. Yeah. I was good with that. It feels different here. It feels different.
Well, it feels different because we couldn't get Stafford any sort of.
I mean, we can't win a playoff game.
No, we couldn't.
They had Stafford and
when we had
Calvin
Verlander,
Johnson.
we went to the
got to the World Series at least
twice, right?
Detroit sports used to be good, but
we were really good. We didn't notice it at the time. We were young. And
the Lions always weren't that good, except for made that 1 year with Stafford, a couple years with Stafford and Calvin.
We did give him, obviously he had Calvin Johnson, right? So he put up big numbers and he does have a wonderful arm. I think he is incredibly gritty and tough, which I don't think a lot of people give him credit for because no one watches Detroit besides the schmucks that live here.
Why would you? Why would you?
But no, I'm rooting for him. I hope they do really well. I like McVay. I don't think that he's going to put up crazy numbers because you look at the people. I think they have a good team to win. But I don't think it's going to be some prolific passing numbers. But I do think he'll be good, and I think he does have upside. He could be. He should be in the top 10, but I'm not. I can't rank him that way because I like the upside for these other guys more.
Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp to throw the ball to. Sean Jackson's there. Tyler Higbee was kind of a bust last year, but no Gerald Everett. Maybe he's better.
You should have a little bit better of a run game. Hopefully, Cam Akers kind of spearheads that whole thing.
I don't know, but the Lions have their first round pick, so come on, we have to have them bad.
I would love for them to be bad, and I love what Detroit's doing.
I didn't rank it this way, but I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit on the Jared Goff talk that you hear from Dan Campbell.
Okay, know what? 100% I
do. Okay, I'm not the only one.
I was laughing because he's definitely not going to show up in the top 15. Okay, don't get us wrong. But I do have to say this: he was the #1 overall draft pick. He made it to the Super Bowl. Do I think he's better than Stafford? Raw, no, I don't. But I think he's far better than the people are giving him credit for.
Yeah.
And I do think you have a bunch of guys that are being overlooked. So I'm hoping that the chip on the shoulder, but we'll find out. He might, maybe McVay knew why he needed someone else. Maybe he knew why he needed Stafford comparatively, but it's not like he's a bum by any stretch of the imagination. He was a top 10 fantasy quarterback just 2 years ago.
TJ Hawkinson said, "Jared's my dog. He's a great dude."
Quote unquote. Way to go, Hawkinson.
That guy has a different mentality.
I hope so. I think he needed to start over. He got
Kool-Aid, man.
He got
drinking it again.
It is kind of funny to think that you went to the Super Bowl only 3 years ago. They went,
maybe,
and then 3 years later, during a pandemic, people were like, "This guy's a loser. He can't cut it."
I bet he needs to beat Stafford. Sorry. All right, 13, Joe Burrow. You're 13, my 12. This is just based off his talent. Obviously, his season was cut short last year, so we didn't really get to see. But he adds his former teammate, right?
Chase, yeah. He does. He has a lot of good weapons. He showed a lot of promise. We all saw what he was able to do in college 2 years ago. Everyone's super high on him. The only thing that worries the crap out of me, I don't have him a little higher, is because they didn't address the O-line. And last year he got his knee ripped up because of that. So now you have to come back from an injury and you aren't protected as, it's worrisome. So I love what Joe Burrow could do, but I don't see him making a giant leap like some of these others. But I'm rooting for him.
It'd probably only be because of the O-line, because he has the talent, I think, around him with Chase and with Higgins and with Boyd and with Mixon. He has that talent
100%.
There. So this is another one I'd like to take a chance on, though. I'd like to throw him on my bench.
You can get him late, too, and that's what's wonderful about it.
Number 14, Matt Ryan still makes his way into our list here. He's 15 for you, 16 for me. He loses Julio, but he still has Calvin Ridley. He adds Kyle Pitts, which is, I think, this is going to be, the Julio deal for Kyle Pitts is, I think, the biggest winner out of everything here.
I would agree. Remember Matt Ryan when he had Gonzalez? They tore it up. Obviously, it was the end of his career, but I mean, the wild thing about Matt Ryan, because he's been in the league for a very long time, and I we used to always make the joke every other year, right? That was always the joke. He always stays around this area, and even the last 2 years, he was 11th and 12th. You're not in the top 10. You're not really that relevant, but he is a incredibly safe guy you can take all the way at the end of the draft and say, okay, I have someone that I can work with. And the funny part too is like when we talk about every other year, I mean, starting in 2016, he was the number 2 QB overall, and then he dropped to 15. Then he was the number 2 QB overall again, then dropped to 11th. Last year was 12th, but they were all over the place. So I don't see the upside of number 2 anymore. I just don't think that's possible. But I could see him creeping up into the number 8 if everyone stays healthy.
Yep. All right. Our final guy of the night, number 15. Trevor Lawrence sneaks in here. He's 20 for you. He's 14 for me. So I think he has a few decent players to throw the ball to, but rookies, I guess we don't know what to do with rookies, right? Sometimes. Yeah. Here's the past. This is how I'm going to base it off. These are the past number 1 overall quarterbacks taken. All right.
Okay.
The last one taken was Joe Burrow, got hurt. Can't use him as an example. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall quarterback, finished 8th as a rookie.
Runner.
Pretty good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, trying to set this down. Baker Mayfield played 14 games. He didn't start those first 2 games when they were trying to go with Tyrod. He finished 16th overall.
Not bad.
As missing 2 games. Really not too shabby. Jared Goff was there. He only played 7 games. Can't really, go off that one. Jameis Winston played all, finished 13th.
All right.
Then you go back to Andrew Luck, who's the next one. Andrew Luck played all 16 games, finished 10th. Then you go back to Cam Newton after that. Cam Newton played all 16 games, finished 3rd. Number 1 overall quarterback, if they play the season, they do pretty good.
They do. Okay. I'll give you that because you didn't rank him ridiculously high.
And they finish at least that spot. 15 is actually might be low. Like before that was Stan Bradford. He was the one I didn't add him on the list because he finished 20th. But
fair enough.
And then Stafford got hurt. Mm-hmm. Then there's Jamarcus Russell, Russell.
He doesn't count. Yeah, I don't know. That was a terrible pick.
But for the most part, there's a pretty good track record of number 1 overall picks as quarterback doing well in fantasy.
Yeah,
I don't think it's crazy. We just don't. This is a weird. Urban Meyer, how's this going to translate? We don't know how any of this is going to work. Is Tim Tebow going to he will steal a touchdown or 2, right? If he's on the roster. I feel like they're going to use Tebow as like some kind of Taysom Hill type player.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to do it.
It could steal a touchdown or 2 away from Lawrence on the goal line if they try to do something.
And honestly, and I know that Taysom Hill, speaking of that, and you kind of mentioned it, it's the one guy I do want to kind of bring up. Yeah. Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I do have him as my number 14. Yeah, it's very, very unclear how that's going to shake out. And I know Taysom Hill worries me, worries you, how they're going to use both of them.
Yep.
But you were talking about Trevor Lawrence, and you actually mentioned Winston and his rookie year being 13. And I was like, well, why not the guy that actually why not that guy? And then why not with the guy with Michael Thomas?
I guess it's only because Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill so much, it worries me.
It does worry me too, but
we'll see.
He's one that is going to be another one where I'm going to throw him on a lot of my teams and say, let's find out.
I think, it'd be good. That's a good way to play with Jameis this year. So, all right, there we go. Top 15.
Last one. I do want to know, where are you going to put Tua?
So right now Tua's like 19, I think, for me right now. I don't know if I love that. That's about as high as I'd like to go with.
I have him at 23.
Okay, he's I think he's in that range. But they added Waddle.
Yeah. And they gave him more weapons to go in the right direction.
I'm just not sure.
I'm wondering
if
I'm undervaluing him, but I didn't like what I saw last year. So
it could be, again, take a flyer. I'm okay with that.
And the last one I have one more, and Carson Wentz, because being traded, he's going to the Colts. I
have him 20th right now. This is another one he could
18th. Yeah,
if we get Carson Wentz of the former MVP candidate of the Eagles, it's a different story.
Right.
So we'll see what Carson Wentz shows up. So all right, there we go. Top 15 quarterbacks. Next week we will hit you up with some running backs. Talk to you guys then.